Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Infinite Awesome Cape and Cowl Book Club show. Nice work. This is actually kind of an atypical thing. I'll get into the process of what we're planning to do later, but this is actually going to be a Picks of the Week video highlighting some of our favorite releases of the week. So if there was any confusion about the Jimmy Olsen book, we're actually reading that and we'll be talking about it next week. But before all that, I would like to introduce my lovely co-host. This is Kevin, aka KevBotzilla. How you doing tonight, Kevin?
A little bow for you. I'm doing great. How are you?
Beautiful. I prefer a good curtsy, but we have to stand up for that, and it's a whole production. Okay, turns out we do have the budget, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary beauties, everything in between. This is also Aton. This is Aton, aka Atron. He's the owner of Cape and Cowl Comics.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing, Aton?
I'm good. I have a special guest here on my side. You might see her every once in a while, but my old cat, Kyle, is rubbing her head on the computer as we speak.
So if the monitor just collapses halfway through, it's the kitty.
You're gonna hear a lot of swearing and probably screeching and me crying after she scratches me. She's temperamental,
to say the least.
Yeah, so it's been an awesome week for comics, and we have some good ones to talk about. So I figure we'll dive right in. Who would like to begin?
Do you want to start, Aton?
Yeah, I'll go first. So for me, it's pretty clear. I have a pretty clear choice of what my favorite book of the week was.
You don't say.
Before. Yeah, I was just looking through my pile, and I was like, if I were to go first, what book would it be? So I guess it was meant to be for me to go first. But this
and look at the cover.
Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? This series is so good. And this issue in particular, I mean, I feel like it's getting better every issue. So just a quick rundown, if people aren't reading this series yet. It takes place 35 years after the original Watchmen. The first issue, there's an assassination attempt on the president by a man dressed as Rorschach and a woman dressed like a cowgirl. And by the end of the issue, spoiler, they're both dead. Issue 2, you get the backstory on the Rorschach, who was this popular cartoonist who was spurned lover by a neighbor in his building. Just a really good personal story. Issue 3 gets into the cowgirl and how she's raised by like a survivalist father out in the woods, kind of cut off from the world, ready to overthrow the government if needed, or defend their land. And then this issue 4, you meet this new guy who is a strongman at a circus who befriends the cowgirl who is also part of the circus as a sharpshooter, basically. Shooting bottles off of people's heads and stuff like that. And the revelation about this, and I don't think it's a spoiler because it's pretty much the whole issue. There goes the cat. This man was Rorschach also. He also teamed up with the cowgirl. So what we learned is that first Rorschach who we met, the old man who died, he was not the only one. He's not the only modern Rorschach. So we don't know how many this woman, the cowgirl, worked with, but it just added this whole wrinkle. You get another really great personal issue, the backstory on this other Rorschach character. It's just, this book is really good, and I mean we have a lot of people reading it at the shop, but I think some people are maybe avoiding it because they're real Watchmen purists and they think it's this untouchable thing. And I would say that the Watchmen association is pretty slim. I mean, you have people dressing up as Rorschach, and beyond that, so far, my ears don't hit, my headphones don't fit in my ears. They fall out. They got weird shaped ears. But so far, I mean, that's basically it. It's you got these people dressed as Rorschach. It is in the same world, so the same stuff happened. Dr. Manhattan happened, all these things, but it's really a small personal story. It's really good.
I definitely need to catch up on it. We probably have fans that pick it up here that are like myself, that are used to the 12 issue Tom King maxi. You got a whole year to read this cool story he's crafting. And I tend to like read the first couple issues and then just like let them build up for a little while. So do you think this one's one I just should keep up with each issue? I mean, I know you're going to say yes, but
I don't think that there's a big benefit to waiting and holding them, because so far we've had
Okay.
4 issues that, though they're connected, they're each these great individual like vignettes on characters.
it's all I needed to hear. I'm in.
Yeah. I don't think that it's gonna read better as a trade for some reason, because there's all these like mysterious things going on. At
Okay.
least not yet.
Gotcha.
So is this the book that had ties, whether directly or indirectly, with the television show, the HBO series, in some way, like thematically or otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, I read an interview or saw a tweet or heard somewhere that Tom King said that this existed in the same universe as the TV show. We're not
interesting.
seeing those characters yet. We're not seeing some of the new. Was it Sister Mercy or Mother Mercy?
Sister Mercy.
Sister Mercy. So she hasn't shown up or anything, but it is 35 years after the original events, like the TV show was.
I guess. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, it has like I don't know if it's a timeless vibe. It doesn't feel necessarily like it's 2021 in this book. It almost feels like a 70s vibe, but that would be 10 or 20 years before Watchmen.
I feel like it's kind of mirroring the vibe of the show in that like the masks are represented as kind of like a mantle to hide people's identities rather than this like persona that they've crafted their whole lives. And I mean, obviously, if we've got multiple Rorschachs, he has turned in from like this main character in the Watchmen story into maybe more of a mantle or an icon for the people, which is a cool concept, especially considering his mask changes every time you look at it. He's the perfect fit for like a multi-person superhero.
Right.
Hi, Kitty.
Cat butt.
Kyle, get your little tail out of here.
Yeah, I mean, this one, like you meet this guy. The whole thing is basically narrated by this strongman who's like kind of one of your typical, at least in fiction, of like the strong guy who's not super intelligent. He's almost like a child,
Gotcha.
And he's kind of lured into this life of Rorschach, and he like speaks like Rorschach when he's wearing the mask and all these things. But it's because the woman told him to, and they were like best friends, and he was in love with her, and he was just like, he didn't have any other friends or family or anybody else. So he's like, okay, well, I'll just put this mask on and kill bad people if that's what you want. If you'll keep eating lunch with me at the circus, then I'll go kill those bad guys with you.
Quinn says, let the cat speak.
Oh, she will. She's not going to wait for an invitation.
Does the cat like Rorschach? Or is your cat a Watchmen purist and thinks it's an untouchable thing?
Kyle won't even read the original Watchmen. She's that much of a purist.
Oh, I see.
She knows Alan Moore wouldn't want anybody buying the book, so she likes it.
Yeah. Well, maybe your cat's just like me and thinks that Alan Moore's Swamp Thing is superior.
Well, she could be. What do you think? Death there.
Yep.
There.
Cat agrees.
All right, that's me. That's Rorschach.
I have one that kind of segues from that circus setting. Can I go next?
Absolutely.
Please.
Okay. So I've shown this one off. The first issue of this, back when it came out, it was also my pick of the week. Staying strong with issue number 2. I've really been loving these heavy metal magazine comics they've been putting out. They've started a series of 10-issue stories that are only $2.99 a piece for this big, like, magazine-sized issue. They're amazing. I'm surprised that more people haven't checked them out. But the Savage Circus, it started out in issue 1. We were getting introduced to this sleepy town called Basin Bay, where there's only one train line in and out of town. Everyone's real poor. They're undergoing like a fundraising initiative where they have this big empty metal statue in the town square where all of the locals are donating money for, I forget the exact reason. And our story sort of picks up as these ne'er-do-wells show up in town with a plan to rob this huge statue full of money. We are also introduced to the Savage Circus, which is essentially a circus that's full of animals and, excuse the pejorative term, freaks that are considered dangerous or savage, more savage than your normal. So I'll give you an example. One of the elephants that's in this Savage Circus was captured after hunting down, and it murdered all of the poachers that killed its family. And I think it took down like 11 people before the owner of the Savage Circus was able to capture it and bring it in as an attraction. So we get the sense immediately that this circus is not for the faint of heart, that the potential to die is definitely there, which, you know, they kind of play with in a lot of circuses, at least that I've been to as a kid. But in this case, it seems like a very real danger. So that's issue 1. Issue 2 picks up right as the Savage Circus is coming to town on the train, and the bad guys are on their way out of town with the giant statue chained to the back of their van, and the two collide. I don't want to say much more. I don't want to spoil anything, but you could tell from the name Savage Circus and what I've already described, this is not going to go very well with a derailed train full of murderous animals in a small, sleepy town, which I can imagine doesn't have the greatest sort of law enforcement team or staff. So this is going to be super fun. I'll show you guys a couple of cool pictures. This is the opening page here. It's almost like a giant golden calf that they've filled with money in the town center. And you see these guys just jamming, like, we got to get out. See this big thing full of money bouncing behind them. And you get a bunch of like insight into the various players in the story. And then here's the fucking moment it all happens.
That's good
So
art.
it is incredible. I mean, for a $2.99 kind of almost seems like an afterthought comic for Heavy Metal Magazine, they're definitely delivering in both quality of story and quality of art. This is by Brendan Columbus with art by Al Ferrionuevo.
So
Both of who I have no idea who these two guys are, but I remember reading at the beginning of this Heavy Metal Magazine stuff that they've been getting creators and writers and producers from like films or people that have had works in stories in the works for a long time that never came to fruition. I wish I would have done a little more research on these guys beforehand so I could tell you, but I believe that I ended up picking this one and Dark Planet or something like Darkwing, which is another one, because the creators' other projects seem kind of cool and like something I'd check out. So we have a copy of issue 2 left. We can get more of them. Issue 1, we might have to dig around to try and find some because I think I did a good job of telling people about it this week. But definitely my pick of the week. I loved it, and I'm going to read it again later on my days off.
They should have hid the money in a banana stand.
Seriously, there's always money in the banana stand.
So that's $2.99 and a magazine size. That's pretty cool.
Right? And there's no like ads in the middle of it either. Oh, I take that back. There's an ad for heavy metal stuff.
Oh, I don't want it anymore.
I'm done. Get me out of here. Look at some of these.
Is it 20 pages or is it short?
No, it's not short. It's got to be 20 pages.
No. Dang.
And I was right. There's no ads in the middle. The ads are only at the very end. Here, take a look at this. This is kind of cool. So this series of magazine books is called Heavy Metal Elements. So I'm assuming these are like little parts of stories that they pepper throughout the normal issues that are just being collected into their own comic format. So you may even be able to read the first part of this in one of the more recent heavy metal magazines. But there's some cool ones. Black Beacon, that one in the corner, The Rise, looks fucking creepy and cool. And that's a Romero, George Romero one. So don't sleep on these guys. If you like heavy metal type stories and you want to check out something new and unique, kind of off the beaten path, give these Heavy Metal Elements magazines a try.
Nice. Right.
Cool.
So the first book I'm going to be talking about is the return of a book that I just read last year and absolutely enjoyed. It's called Abbott. Here's some amazing covers. This is the A cover here, and this is the amazing variant. Both gorgeous and eye-catching covers that I love. So this book is by Saladin Ahmed, is the writer. He is a big name. He's at Marvel doing Miles Morales and Miss Marvel, assuming he's still doing that. And the artist is Sami Kivela. Like I said, this is the return of this book, so it's essentially a season 2. And I didn't know how much I needed a season 2 until I started reading it. For those unfamiliar, Abbott, Elena Abbott is her name. She's a Black female beat journalist in 1970s Detroit, dealing with all the baggage that might entail. But she also happens to be this city's essentially light magic wielding savior against a spectral darkness called the Umbra, that some of these dark occultists are channeling to use the bodies of minorities in this city to do their dark bidding. And it all ties in perfectly for Elena Abbott because she's doing research into and investigations into crimes and murders dealing with Black members of society and minorities that are not being covered by the police in the larger papers. And that the first season essentially explores that. By the end, she finds out, about her destiny, about being this warrior of light. And the second season is kind of her navigating that, what it means. She knows it's not over. She may have defeated the big bad in that first series, but the darkness still looms, and it's her job to kind of figure that out and deal with the rest of it. This new volume is really interesting because at the end of last volume, we found Elena Abbott gets a job at a Black newspaper. So it's a less prominent paper, less funding, etc. But it's what matters to her. She makes the stand. She makes the decision to do that. So now she's working with a Black crew, and they're all kind of working on these stories. But it's interesting because we still get to explore her problems in the workplace, because now, even though she may be dealing with less of the racism that she dealt with at the larger papers, she's now dealing with this new editor who is exhibiting lots of sexist qualities. So that's fun. So now it's kind of her in the workplace dealing with this, sexism within her own community. So she's navigating that as well as becoming this, protector that she was apparently destined to be. With a new dark force looming, we find out that there's other occultists that are channeling the Umbra that we saw in the first volume are now here to get revenge on Abbott. So these are the further adventures of Elena Abbott, and it's off to an excellent start. Sami Kivela's artwork is beautiful. It's very smoky and noir, very bustling newsroom shots that I love. And Saladin Ahmed has an amazing voice for these characters. He makes them all feel very real. And it also, something interesting about this book is it's taking place in the backdrop of the election of Detroit's first Black mayor. So you have kind of the city in upheaval over that as well. And a lot of racist factions are rearing their ugly heads and trying to stop that from happening. So, Abbott's kind of being bombarded on all sides by these new challenges. So it'll be interesting to see how she handles them.
That issue
awesome.
had a really good 2-page intro. In case you didn't read the original Abbott, it's got 2 pages. It totally catches you up. It's like, this is Abbott. This is the situation that she ran into. This is what happened. And now here she is at her new job a year later, I think, dealing with all this stuff. So don't feel like you need to go and read that other trade first. I think if you read that first issue, you could go grab that trade and be stoked, and you should probably grab that trade no matter what. But
you absolutely should. Yeah.
You absolutely should. Yeah, 100%.
We have one of them. We have one of them in stock right now.
Okay.
Yeah. We're usually good about keeping that one around too. So definitely come get them. It's a great story, and this continuation looks very promising as well.
Eitan, did we sell the one per store to anybody, or can I show that off on the screen?
No, I think it's still there in the box. Yeah.
Okay. Cody, give me a big screen so I can show off this super sexy one per store cover of the book that you.
I would love to.
Look
Jenny Frison.
at that. Jenny Frison. There was a 1 in 10, I think, or 1 in 25 that was that had the trade dress on this. This is the Virgin one per store copy, which we have for.
I think it's 35. I think I forgot to get it on the paper on the door because I didn't think we had it.
$35.
That's beautiful.
I love it.
Yeah, so I usually try to pitch this as anybody who likes supernatural horror with socially charged drama, and that kind of fine balance is so much fun. Kitty loves it. Kitty's getting one. You should too.
Kyle's in. Okay, my second one. Oh gosh, I only have one non-DC book on my pile here to share, so I will grab that one since I already did Rorschach. This book was a real pleasant surprise for me. Crimson Flower from Dark Horse, written by Matt Kindt with art by Matt Lesniewski.
Bless you.
Yeah.
And it's a what did you say?
Gesundheit.
Oh, thank you. It's basically a pretty straightforward revenge story. You get this flashback of a young girl sitting in her father's office, and this mysterious person comes in with a trench coat and a hat, and their face is in shadow, and you can't see. And the dad is murdered. And then flash forward, I don't know, 30 years, and you have this woman, and she's hunting down assassins. Being like, did you kill my dad? Did you kill my dad? Did you kill my dad? Do you know who killed my dad? And not having a ton of luck. But really what's pretty special about this is Matt Lesniewski's artwork.
It's wild.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's got like an underground, like a 70s underground kind of vibe to it, but a little more a little more polished. It's just captivating. Like every character has so much character. Like look at this big guy with his giant hands and his giant mustache.
Didn't someone say that big guy with the mustache, that's a really good example of that artist's typical people?
Yeah.
They're saying like that guy right there, that's what made me think of the artist who did it. I'm not familiar with this guy. I would love to read some more of his stuff.
Yeah, I think we have a graphic novel of his that looks really cool called The Freak.
Okay.
I've been meaning, I didn't put two and two together that's who this was, because I remember seeing his artwork on that graphic novel and being like, wow, this is crazy. And then, I mean, I don't know if I should show it because it's like the last panel of the book, so I won't. But it looks like, so this first issue is pretty straightforward revenge, like I said. But one of the last panels you see in the story, it looks like she is dressed as a superhero flying through the air. Has no connection to anything in the previous 21 pages. So I think it's Matt Kindt, right? I don't think Matt Kindt does a lot of just straightforward, good guy kills the bad guy and walks down the road into the sunset. So I think it's about to get super weird to match how weird the art is, and I'm pretty stoked. So kind of a quick review, but definitely recommend it. We don't have a ton of copies left. I think we only have this and the other variant cover. We don't even have the A cover left. But if you're looking for something a little different and super cool and nothing like anything else you're seeing on the stands right now, at least art wise, I would check out Crimson Flower #1.
Dark Horse is consistent too, so you're likely to get all of those in a timely fashion. I think we were talking about that when we were discussing it in the store. Like Mountainhead was a great book, but I think it was probably due to the pandemic, but that was so delayed it just killed the readership like halfway through the story.
Yeah, hopefully this one they've got the issues. I think Dark Horse, our friend Dave Dwan just announced he has a new book coming from Dark Horse. Jenny Zero, I think it's called. It was originally going to be called
cool.
Party Monster. And I remember him telling me months and months and months ago that Dark Horse wouldn't announce it until they had like 3 of the 4 issues done.
Good.
So
Yeah, that's
probably
awesome.
a good sign that if you're picking up a Dark Horse book, it's going to be there next month.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the art. It kind of reminded me of, I think I mentioned it to you, like Farrell Dalrymple stuff, just like way trippier and weirder, like noodle arm Farrell Dalrymple art.
Yeah, there's not just a regular looking person in that book at any time. Even
Yeah.
she starts looking like there's just this woman with red hair, and then slowly her hair is getting like longer and getting this life of her own, and all of a sudden her hair is framing panels, and you're just like, whoa, this is fucking sweet. Like I'm freaking out right now, and I like it.
I definitely love that. I personally, with my art, my taste in comic art, I always like stylized versus realism. So I was not expecting that book to look like it. Like I opened it up and was just totally surprised.
Well, even the cover that this artist did, the A cover it shows kind of like the superhero-y version of the woman, or she kind of looks like I thought she was like a knight, and
Yeah,
I did too. Yeah.
The description of the story and saw that it was about revenge. I was like, oh, it's a knight getting revenge. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's why I ordered it kind of lightly. But I wish, and if you look at the cover for number 2 in the back of this book, it definitely is weirder, and it makes you kind of wish that the original cover was weird looking like this, because then maybe it would have had a better,
Yeah.
we're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's weird as hell. Okay, yeah, I can get into that.
Honestly, a little like thing that I do, and it's kind of a little like hack for people who are looking at FOC and are like wondering about a book. Often, if I don't recognize the artist name, I'll just like Google some of their panels and like see if it's something I think is cool, and that helps me decide at FOC if I want to take the jump to get this random number 1, because the art will really make that decision for me half the time.
Yeah, I guarantee that I won't see a book with this guy's name on it again and overlook it. Like I will be looking like, is it Lisnowski? Oh no, oh it's Jim Lee, whatever.
Oh yeah. Who?
Yeah, I don't know.
Jim who?
Jimbo? Jim, not Lisnowski. Jim, not.
Yeah, more like. Yeah, Jim, leave me alone.
Heyo.
Not deserved.
What's your next one, Kevin?
Okay. Well, I'm going to keep on the theme of weird books.
We like Jim Lee, by the way.
Yeah, we do. We do. Jim's a good guy. Jim's a good guy. So my other pick of the week, one of my other picks of the week, was a new offering by Brandon Graham, the amazing artist from such books as was it Multiple Warheads and King City. He's got a style that it really isn't matched by anybody else, and I didn't really know what to expect going into this book. I believe the description that was given was it's about the life of a man who lives in a mobile city in the future, and the cities start to be assaulted by unknown forces. So pretty vague. I had no idea like this was going to be sci-fi adventure, it's going to be action. Since it's Brandon Graham, I thought maybe it'd just be a little weird. He likes to make all sorts of weird puns when he names things and when he shows off food. If you are a fan of Brandon Graham, you'll know he loves food. But this book ended up being something totally different. I think the best way to describe it is probably via some of the information at the back of the book. This book is based on a Japanese term called iyashike. It's Japanese for healing, and it's a term used for manga created with the purpose of having a healing or soothing effect. Turns out that one of Brandon Graham's favorite comics is something called The Walking Man, and it's just about a guy who like wanders around and finds lipstick in a park and leaves it on a bench for someone to find, or is eating food. It's meant to be healing and what was it? A processing comic is what he calls it. So it's cool. This entire book sort of expands into that. You open up with a couple really cool pages of kind of the idea of that. This is one of the giant mobile cities, and they're all based on animals. So the city he lives in is the Elephant City, and each one is named after a different creature. We don't really get to see them, but I'm sure we will. I'm real excited about it. And then immediately our second page is meant to give you a sense of scale on the size of these cities and what's going on inside. And you'll notice too, there's not like a ton of people. It's not like this thing is packed with people that are struggling to survive. It seems like a pretty serene, futuristic city on the move.
Well, that's because
And,
it's post-COVID, so nobody's out.
Fair.
Nobody's doing
Um,
anything.
Yeah, and then the story, there's not like a ton of crazy shit that happens. It's about this guy reporting to his workstation and, eating cheaply some days so he can save up money to buy awesome food to eat when his favorite streams are on. I mean, it's like literally slice of life until stuff starts
That's
happening
so
with these.
cool.
I know, right? I mean, like there's so many pages that pay attention to, or so many panels that pay attention to just nothing actions, like him typing on the keyboard or him walking from one room to the other. My favorite parts, which if you haven't been able to tell so far, are when he gets his food. I want to show
This
you guys
is
a
way
couple.
cooler than I thought it was, actually.
Right? Okay. So this food page. Eugene eats tempeh, vinegar, green, and honey cube, along with milk fizz to drink. The fizz and honey are a treat. He mostly tries to eat cheap to save his funds for the nights his favorite broadcast is on. Okay. Super cool, right?
Whoops, I didn't mean to highlight myself right there. Whoops. That's really funny.
So there's too many details in here that I don't want to spoil for you guys. I want you to experience it yourself. Please check it out. I do want to show you an example of what dope food looks like on this city. Apparently, it's going to this vending machine and buying a huge fucking egg. And then when he hold on. But then when he gets the egg home, he pops into it and he starts just sucking like nutrients out of it. And then at a certain point, he pulls the top off and he pops it. And inside is peas and paneer in a tomato skin with thermo protein and hoisin in a lime yogurt skin. So, I mean, it's just like super futuristic, ridiculous. I mean, we've all had some of those things, so we can imagine how it would taste. And then I think one of the other shining parts of this book is you actually get to see the broadcasts that he loves and the shows that he's watching.
Yes.
It's so cool. It's so cool. And then the issue sort of starts to wrap up as they encounter a city that has been assaulted. They don't really know what's happened, and they are off to figure it out. So this is going to be, I think it's like 4 or 6 parts. It's all of the issues are going to be these monster oversized issues, which is amazing, especially the quality of the art and the detail. I think everyone should read it. This is the perfect time for a processing comic. Heal your brain, heal your heart. Read a little Brandon Graham. This might expose you to some things that he's done in the past. Like I said, Multiple Warheads is amazing. Though he does try to make jokes every 5 seconds, and if you're not super into it, it can be a little tedious. I love it, but I think you guys should read Rain Like Hammers.
I think
As
I will.
somebody who is as someone who is saving a bag of popcorn for the brand new episode of WandaVision tomorrow, it speaks deeply to me to plan your exciting meals that way. I appreciate it.
Oh my God. And he has this iPod device that every time he listens to it, the sound depends on his mood and what's going on. So he'll be like in a bad mood and he'll start listening to it, and it's like a crescendo of waves blasting the shore. And then he's like in a good mood, getting ready to watch his show, and it's like a upbeat, orchestral. It's like super fun, and it's all represented by these little bubbles with colors.
That's like the most pure comic I've heard about in a long time.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You're messing up if you're not reading it.
Sounds
No
like
judgment.
relatable content, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for highlighting that one. I did not know that's what it was about. That's really
No
cool.
problem. It was definitely not what I expected. Like most of the Multiple Warheads is about a girl named Sexica who's an organ trafficker, and she puts the organs inside her body and transports them places. His stuff's super weird. This is way less moving parts to keep track of and just a joy to read. So
I mean, that just sounds like a nice little break between the smash bang boom of a lot of superhero stuff. How about I just enjoy this processing comic about saving up my good meals? I love that.
Wait till you get to watch or read the streams that he's watching. They're so cool.
Okay.
What's next for you, Cody?
After that treasure, we'll talk about my next book. This Let me drop it real quick. This is Barbalian Red Planet. This is issue 3 of Barbalian Red Planet. And this is Barbalian Red Planet's beautiful variants, featuring lovely drag queen profiles. Look at that. Awesome. There he is over there. Adorable.
I love that cover.
So this book has skyrocketed to the top of my list as far as what I'm excited about. This takes place in the world of Black Hammer, and Black Hammer is something I actually haven't read. So this was my first exposure to Barbalian, aka Mark Marks, which is like John Jones, like Martian Manhunter. I guess the Black Hammer is like the Justice League pretty much, but like probably better. But this being my first exposure to Barbalian, I instantly fell in love with him. I would die for him. This book is written by Tate Bromble and Jeff Lemire, with art by Gabriel Hernandez Walta, who Gabe Walta actually did Vision by Tom King. So we've been hyping up that book a lot because A, it's great, and B, WandaVision is out. So check that out too. But Gabe Walta, to me, is just known for his very, very moody art. And it fits this book in a lovely way because it's a little bit darker, a little bit grittier, which really works for it. But basically what this book does is it gives us Barbalian and his struggle with these multiple lives that he's kind of leading. He's a shape-shifting Martian. So he basically has taken on the form of this police officer, and he's working on the police force. But he's also simultaneously exploring his kind of blooming like homosexuality, and he's being exposed to the gay underground scene and going to a lot of drag shows, and he's been exposed to the ball scene by someone he's involved with named Miguel. And there's so many layers here because in this persona, he takes on the form of a boy named Luke who meets Miguel, and they kind of are falling for each other, and they're kind of in a fling right now as Miguel shows him, you know, the beauty of gay culture. But Miguel's also showing him a lot of the hardship because Miguel is an activist in a Spiral City. We're basically in a time where there is an AIDS epidemic, and it pretty much mirrors the AIDS epidemic as we had it when it appeared. And so Miguel is kind of an activist in this scene and standing up against a very abusive police force, which gives this book a lot of layers because Mark himself, one of his forms, is a police officer, and he's finding a lot of this conflict of interest, and he's trying to find himself and where he belongs in all of it. Beautiful storytelling. It's fantastic. It really is, to me, a lot of gay narratives. It's a lot about the struggle, which is incredibly important for everyone to read and understand. But this book does a great job balancing that with pure gay joy. There's so much gay happiness, and this book is written with a sort of elegance about gay culture that I haven't seen in a superhero book. I mean, I feel like ever. There's so much care and attention put into the gay scene and what it means to come out, find your freedom, find your chosen family, and how strong that bond can be and how that can really get you through so much. This book is full of heartbreaking things about the struggle of the culture too. I mean, it opens up, like I said, in the AIDS epidemic, and we see this character, Rosie Day is her name, which is a beautiful superhero comic book character name. But she's essentially kind of like has healing abilities. But it opens up with this heartbreaking scene of she's on the phone with this man who's dying of AIDS in his hospital bed, and she's giving a call to his mother, and she's just saying, you know, I don't want to see him. He's an abomination. He's not even my son. And she's like, he just wants to say goodbye to you. And sadly, this man never gets to talk to her and passes away shortly after. So it's really hard hitting. It's intense. But like I said, the way Tate Bromble and Jeff Lemire have balanced this with just the amazingness to find about being gay and in a gay community and finding your family, so tear-jerking. I cried when I read the first issue, and so like legit, and every single time I just look forward to it so much. I get really, really emotional about this book, and it's just fabulous, and I don't think it should be missed, especially for fans of Black Hammer. But like I said, I went in blind, and you bet your ass I'm going to read all the Black Hammer I can get now, but I love it to death.
That's so
do you guys, either of you guys know of many other shape-shifting superheroes or heroines that have been gay? Are there many? I feel like it seems like such a slam dunk for a character who's not bound by any sort of physical limitations to also be open to something like that. I feel like there's so many shape-shifting characters and their sexuality doesn't typically get addressed.
Yeah, to me, shape-shifting is a very queer power. I've kind of always felt that way. So it's interesting that you would bring that up. But yeah, something about the fluid identity, fluid gender, very, very like some queer connotation to the ability. But as I think about it, I'm not even sure.
Yeah, Aton, you got anything back from the DC vault?
Da,
You
da,
got-
da, 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 da. Mystique is gay.
Oh yeah, yeah,
There you
gay as
go.
hell.
Yeah, she's with Destiny. Yeah, so there's one. I mean, the X-Men fans would have came for me so hard if I never got that. I'm so glad.
I have one on like the tip of my there is another one. There's somebody else, and I'm it's not coming to me right away, but I think it will, and I'll blur it out between
that's
when
good,
you're
yeah.
talking about your next book. I'll be like, that guy.
Yeah. There's a comment here that we shouldn't overlook. Raul is commenting on some of the Black Hammer. He says all of them are great. Dr. Star, best side Black Hammer series. Have either of you guys read Dr. Star?
Yeah, it's like
That broke my fucking heart. That was such a sad, amazing.
Oh my
side story
god!
from
See,
Black
this is
Hammer.
like it just Black Hammer like.
That's what it is. That's what the whole book is. It's just like gut punch after gut punch. It's like,
I
oh,
need
you
it.
love this person, and it's not because like they kill them. It's just because like,
yeah,
because they go
life
through
is-
it. It puts them through it. You know what? Yeah.
it's not gratuitous ever. Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I gotta go read Black Hammer. You guys wrap it up.
Yeah, I think Dr. Star was like straight up like dude becomes an intergalactic superhero who has to travel, which means time passes, and he has a son who's sick and doesn't have the time to hang out with his kid. There's a lot more to it, so check it out. But it was so like that's how a superhero that's how it would turn out. I mean, that's ultimately like you said, Eitan, that's how all this shit would turn out in reality. None of it's all that sunshiny and happy. There's some sad shit that goes on.
So this comment I have highlighted, wasn't there a crossover?
There was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
But they teamed up, right? Or did they fight? I thought they
I'm
got
sure
like
fought
transposed.
first, right? Superheroes always fight before they're friends.
I don't think they do fight. That the Justice League gets transported to the farm.
That's right.
That the Black Hammer is on. But to answer your question directly, the Justice League would beat the shit out of Black Hammer. I mean, just like annihilate them.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. That's almost like putting the Justice League against the Doom Patrol, right? One team kind of like comparatively has their shit together, and one just completely doesn't. And like if Black Hammer is as like traumatized and damaged as I feel like they are, like the Doom Patrol, yeah, probably Justice League, but only because the Justice League are like old fogies who've been doing it forever.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, the Justice League fought like Starro yesterday, and the Black Hammer like hung out at the farm again.
That's exactly the kind of superhero book I love.
Yeah,
I want them to hang out at a farm.
me too. I'm just calling it like as it is, like it is. Okay.
And any sort of esoteric or existential threat to reality, they would probably call Black Hammer over the Justice League.
That's the thing, right? Justice League are just like, I don't understand this. This is all way too Grant Morrisonian right now. Let's call the Doom Patrol, right?
Everyone's trapped in a painting. How do we get them out? Doom Patrol.
Oh my god, I love that issue. And Superman's just like, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do.
They're not coming out.
So good.
All right. Speaking of Superman, my
Touché.
next book, Superman has spent a lot of time on a farm. That's true. But when he was living on the farm, he would also travel to the 30th century to hang out with the Legion of Superheroes for long stretches and then come back a minute later. So listen, Raul, you asked the question, I answered it. Just kidding.
Don't pay any attention to pick of the week, Dan.
In a battle for my heart between the Justice League and Black Hammer would win. There's my answer. For my heart, for the fate of Cody's heart.
Fair. Okay, speaking of Superman. Well, Cody, what about this Superman in your heart?
Yes.
Right
okay,
here.
everybody, I bought this just for the cover, if I'm honest. I don't like Superman, but I like this outfit that he's rocking.
This is
Daddy, calm down.
This is the variant cover.
Full disclosure.
This is the variant cover to Future State Superman Worlds of War. And this is a big chunky issue. There you go. The A cover is beautiful. I really actually had a hard time choosing which one, but I'm a sucker for painted covers, and this guy Riccardo Federici is like a master of cool painted fantasy covers usually. But that Michael Janin one is fantastic.
I don't like how pale Superman is here. He looks like he's wearing a white bodysuit, but that's his skin.
Well, he's on a planet with a red sun. He's like not at his
Mhm.
best right now.
Gotcha.
So this is another big chunky future state issue. It's I don't know the page count. It's probably like 60 pages or something, kind of like the next Batman. There's 3 stories in it. The lead story is this is the first time we're seeing Clark Kent in future state. When we saw Superman before, it was Jonathan Kent back on Earth, a little bit older and taking on the role for his dad, who is now missing. Well, now we find Clark, and he is on Battle World or War World, which is Mongul's basically gladiator planet. And there's a red sun there, so he's depowered, and he's in it's like Gladiator. He's in a rolling cage, basically being wheeled into this arena, and he and some other prisoners get dumped into the center of the arena and told to fight for their lives. And of course, he's Superman, so he's going to protect the people. He's going to protect the other people being forced to fight here for Mongul's entertainment. Don't bite me.
Good luck.
She just did. Stop it. That story starts with a few pages, or maybe half the story, are people reflecting on Superman being gone. And it's all people who have been saved by him sharing stories and also guessing where he is. And some people are like, he gave up on us. You know, he tried, he did everything he could, or he died. You know, he goes out into space every day doing stuff, and we never even hear about it because Lois Lane isn't there to report on it. But so he just went out to space and died. And then it cuts to him on this planet. And then there's 2 backup stories. One is Mr. Miracle, Shiloh Norman, and he's trying to rescue Superman. Basically, he's trying to break into Warworld instead of escape. And Superman and Metropolis, we also get a Mr. Miracle story, and he's trying to escape from the now shrunken city of Metropolis that's under a dome. And in this one, he's trying to break into the planet to save Clark. And the second backup story is Midnighter, who's an amazing character, super badass, basically Batman with no rules and a super processing computer. He's like Batman and Deathstroke kind of were combined.
He's got 2 brains that help him pre-fight every move that could ever happen in an altercation, and he's always 2 steps ahead of wherever you're at.
Yeah.
He's also got like super strength. He's got that super computer that tells him essentially he basically has an open window 5 to 10 seconds into the future, which is an amazing power for a superhero. It's especially when he's like a street level brawler.
Yeah.
And more importantly, he is gay rage personified.
Gay as hell. Yeah,
is incredible.
Yeah,
he goes back in time and kicks Hitler's head right off his body. In another Midnighter story.
He's obviously a gay character, and they never shy away from it. But it's also not, I feel like, a defining feature necessarily of him. And I remember in the previous series or the last series I read, like he's, a little bit of a player. Like he rolls out of bed with oh, Kyle, what are you doing to my computer? With a guy, and then just goes right into like his next adventure. It's not, I don't know. I don't know if it would be better to spend more time on it or not, but it's just like, this is just the gay dude who goes and beats the shit out of people.
Have you guys read the A Man Called Kev? It was older title where it was heavy Midnighter Apollo in it.
Yeah.
I feel like in order to talk about Midnighter's sexuality, we also have to talk about his partner Apollo, who is like the paradigm shift of him. He is like the Lord of Light. He can fly. He has like a glowing halo around him at all times. And I think that the best way that they use Midnighter's sexuality is like to pull the bait and switch on people, because no one expects this gruff, badass dude to be with Apollo. And whenever someone points that out, he's very quick to kick their ass. It's like the best thing ever.
Well, the best part of the original, the best part of the original Authority, or one of the best parts, is that like Apollo and Midnighter just very like slowly fall in love over the course of like a bunch of issues of that. It's not like, you know, I'm gay Batman, I'm gay Superman, like, let's get together. Whoa, that's crazy. It's like actually this love story that builds over, you know, a period of time, and is like a cool element of the overall story that goes on.
Yeah.
So this is fun. One of the better Future State books so far. Future State Superman, Worlds of War. Myself in the nose.
Although, Eitan, like you mentioned to me previously, there's not nearly enough Superman as a gladiator in an arena.
No, I mean,
like the last page of that story part. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure we're getting a whole bunch of it in the next issue. But they do just kind of tease you with it with this one.
And it's worth mentioning, you kind of mentioned it, but it's like all three of these stories are happening in the same place. Like Midnighter and Miracle Man pass each other in War World with like very terse interaction. He's just like, yeah, he's over there. See ya. He's like, where are you going? Oh, I'm out of here. It's just like, it was an awesome way to do backup stories that actually happen at the same time. I've seen that happen a lot.
Totally.
Isn't Midnighter operating in some kind of like administrative capacity in Future State? I feel like I've seen his name in like Justice League. They're like, does Midnighter, like, has he sent you out on blah blah or something like that?
Well, that was something they set up in Death Metal. He's part of that new team that's like monitoring the Omniverse. He's on that team with Martian Manhunter and the Hawks and Wally West. So I think he is like, because he can see everything and has like the super brain, he is going to be kind of like the oracle of the Omniverse. But in this one, he's really just smashing heads and beating bad guys up.
And he's still got the carrier, and he still can do the door stuff. All he needs, right?
Yeah.
Still flying the bleed.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, he's great. Everybody check out some Midnighter. He's really cool, and he says door a lot. It's awesome.
Door.
All right. I'll stick with the Future State vibes.
Door.
Catwoman.
I don't know about you, Miss Kitty, but I'm feeling so much yummier. Sorry.
Don't be.
Never apologize for that. Catwoman was an unexpected delight. With all this Future State stuff, you don't really know what to expect. This drops us right in the middle of Magistrate era. Is it Gotham? I would imagine it's Gotham.
It's Gotham.
But the Magistrate's running the city, and Catwoman's about to do a heist on a train, baby. The art in this was just shocking. I loved it. It's Ram V writing, and is it Otto Schmidt doing the art?
Yes, it is.
God, I mean, just look at the character work. Look at
so good. That's my favorite panel right there.
That one right there.
Yeah, throwing up the symbol. I love that.
Throwing up the symbol. So, everyone is being put under the boot of the Magistrate, but there's a small resistance of people that have organized to fight back. Catwoman is one of these people, and she has a team of people that are helping her plan and execute this heist. It's cool. You get everything from like flying through the air to landing on the train to a literal countdown throughout the issue as the plan goes off with and without hitches. She's getting onto the train in order to rescue someone on there. I'm not going to spoil it for you because that's the whole point of the issue.
Which sucks. We have to talk about that outside of this video because I'm confused, but not here. Spoilers.
She does bring some. I don't know how deep of a cut is the onomatopoeia character that she grabs?
Oh yeah.
He's from the Kevin Smith run of Green Arrow. Yeah,
Oh,
Kevin Smith
Fuck yeah.
created him. He's a cool character.
he
Like
just
that,
does like boom, snap, thwip.
or like if he has a gun, like he'll be like holding a gun to somebody's head and be like, bang. And then the gun goes off, like he says the sound effects right before they happen. That's it. He's saying like whip, smack.
Yeah.
When she's there, like using
Yeah,
her weapon.
Here, I'll show you. I'll show you guys a page with him in it. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's funny that he's from Kevin Smith's because he gave me a very like Silver Age vibe, like because it's so silly.
Yeah,
But like, like.
Let's
he's
see
using
here.
something else also.
Oh yeah, there's a page. There's a page where he's like getting out of his stasis cell. He gets a little blood off the guard's lip, and then he says, "Scribble," as he draws a face on the shirt that he wraps around his head. I don't know. Dude looks cool as fuck. I don't really know what his power set is other than the obvious. He speaks sound effects into reality or something. But yeah, there's your boy with the cool ass mask as Catwoman is whipping up the bad guys, and
he doesn't actually break, like his sound effects don't become reality.
Oh, okay.
He's just says them.
He just does it. That's cool. That's even cooler.
Yeah.
So he just says, "Whip, whip, kapow." I'm into it. I can't wait to see how Onomatopoeia is going to help her get to the front of the train, because she's got to get there. She's got to save whoever this person is that I'm not going to tell you about. You got to read it to find out. We also get another well-known Bat Fam character that pops up as well. So be excited. There's not really much more I can say about the issue without spoiling it, but you guys should check it out. I think the art is stellar. One of the better, like, kind of drop you in and hit the ground running books from Future State that I've read so far. There you go. We got plenty of them. Check this out. Very cinematic.
Like, yeah, it was like watching a movie scene. It's like, what is that movie that's on the train?
Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer. It has, I mean, it has had like some elements of that, plus like Ocean's 11 kind of.
I think it's that mechanic of adding the countdown timer to the various pages and not having it like in specific, like every 3 pages. It's just kind of randomly whenever stuff is happening. So you get like a total sense of urgency. And when she's talking about getting to where she needs to get, she's like, got to make it through 12 train cars full of magistrate peacekeepers, which, as we've seen from the other DC titles, the magistrate peacekeepers are no fucking joke. So it's cool. I like it. I hope that the next issue keeps up the cinematic feel. And if this is what we can expect from Catwoman going forward, I will be reading Catwoman.
Same.
My favorite line in that book is when it's like some magistrate authority figure in the beginning who's like running all the lines or whatever. My favorite line is when he says, "The magistrate will bring back glory to the once great Gotham." And I was like, bitch, when?
Yeah, make Gotham great again.
When, America? Like, I want to see the receipts of when Gotham was great. Anyway.
You'll see those receipts of Gotham and Metropolis's history in the Jimmy Olsen book we're going to read, because it actually gets a lot into the secret histories of those cities.
I'm so excited. Is it my turn now?
Yeah, you got another one for us?
Yeah. This is pretty much the last one I wanted to highlight. This is Stillwater by Chip Zdarsky and Ramon Perez. This is a book I'm also always excited to read, not only because I love Ramon Perez's art and Chip Zdarsky's great writing, but because it's such a spoopy little theme featuring a town that can't die. I've talked about it several times in videos, so I won't bore you with those details. But essentially, this issue has some crazy stuff go on at the end that is basically like this judge who's running this town. We left the last issue seeing that there's like a committee to plead their case to the judge about opening the town, not opening the town's borders really, but like letting people come and go, because they're thinking like, oh my God, because ever since our main character arrived, who's from this town and left and came back, they're like, wow, our kids maybe deserve to like grow up or like, advance past, like, if Sprite from the Eternals lived in this town, like hell would have been raised, because like, but basically the committee is pleading their case to the judge, and this whole issue concerns itself with what happens in that meeting, which I won't give away. So kind of not much to say about this one. I just wanted to highlight it because the series has been so cool and so fun to see how it develops, because Chip Zdarsky is doing really cool world building with this, and he really takes the time to define the rules of a weird town where no one can die, what that means, what it entails, the problems with it, the benefits with it. He likes to play with that. So that kind of world building is something I get really excited about in a comic, and Stillwater's doing that. So check it out.
Yeah, no hiccups. It seems like that story is moving along at a nice pace too. I don't feel like any issues really lagged or had any lack of stuff going on.
Yeah.
I'm pretty intrigued by the last page tease too, going forward. Like there's a kind of a new element that's going to be added that's going to complicate things that I think is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, and I guess, we're basically out of time for the rest of our books, but did anybody have an honorable mention last number 4 issue that they wanted to just, hey, King in Black number 3, read me?
I will say that Immortal Wonder Woman, another Future State
Top
book,
notch.
just gorgeous. You get Jen Bartel interiors, which is pretty rare and pretty special when you get it. And the writing was really good. I would say I liked Mariko Tamaki's Wonder Woman so much. It was like one of my favorite DC books coming out, that when they announced a new writer, I was like, I hope it's good. And I read this issue and I was actually really pleased. So now I'm very much looking forward to Becky Cloonan writing Wonder Woman post Future State.
And they don't have to be exclusive, but who are you, Team Yara or Team Nubia? We've gotten introduced to 2 new Wonder Womans.
Oh, that's, I don't know. Let's have them all. Yeah. Team Wonder Woman.
I like the fucking rebel spirit of Yara. She's just kind of like, fuck you, I do what I want. And Nubia has got a little bit more of like a back history and like family lineage built into it. So I think I'm Team Yara, but we'll see. I'm gonna keep reading it. Did you have a 4th one, Cody? Oh, go ahead, Eitan. What you got?
Well, I just wanted to remind everybody that this is our book club book for next week. Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen. We have like 1 copy in the store right now left. We didn't realize this when we chose it, that it would be hard to come by, but I do have some other ones coming. So maybe if you enjoy our discussion next week, when we talk about it by next Thursday, let us know. We'll get you one. We'll try not to spoil the whole thing. It's a whole 12 issue thing, but I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's a very funny, goofy, creative book that's gonna be fun to talk about.
Hell yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait for Eitan to dig out the deep cuts. Let us know what's good.
I'm taking notes.
Taking notes. All right. Did you have a 4th one, Cody, or anything you wanted to honorable mention, or are you good?
I guess just real quick, Black Cat, this is the King in Black tie-in business. I don't like King in Black, like the main event myself, but the tie-ins have actually been kind of fun, including this one. Black Cat is literally gonna like go steal from a space god, so that pitch is what got me. I love this Black Cat run by Jed MacKay. It doesn't get talked about a lot, but it should, because it's actually a lot of fun. She's just super badass, super stealthy, and she's pulling off one of her harder jobs in ripping off like the god of all darkness and whatever, I don't know, but very, very cool. And it's also like, I think, the first appearance of an anti-Venom suit, so why more people aren't trying to like get into that is beyond me. You guys are full of surprises, but anyway, it's fun. You should check it out.
I think you just answered the question why a whole bunch of those covers sold today.
Yeah, I think so.
What about you, Kevin? You got one last one you wanted to point to?
I just had that King in Black issue 3. It was great. Thor comes back, though I don't know how that fits with the continuity of the Thor series right now, while Donald Blake is in his place. Weird continuity thing with Marvel that I wasn't a big fan of, but the book itself is great. Thor actually goes up against Null in the flesh, and it goes about as good as you'd expect with, 2-3 issues left. So check it out.
Cool.
All right, and with that, I think we're out of time. Thank you guys so much for joining. Stick around next week. We're doing Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content and to know when we're going live. Helps us a bunch. And you guys are beautiful and amazing. Thanks for coming.